Welcome to Guns, Gear, and Guns with Gary Gunderson. I am Gary Gunderson. Today I have kind of a mystery Chinese chest rig video because I cannot say for certain if these are legit military issue or some rig for some reason made briefly for export or what. Here's the thing. A number of years ago, a group of these came into the country seemingly all at once, but this was before I was collecting. I have found old deactivated listings on Sportsman's Guide, Liberty Tree Collectors, but no one seems to agree on what these are for or called. I cannot find any real reliable information to accompany these. For instance, Liberty Tree Collectors listing says it's Type 56 SKS pouches, but clearly SKS stripper clips are swallowed up by these pouches, which I'll show you later. Other listings say it's a Type 63 variant, which I am inclined to believe because the buckle is similar to the standard Type 63 rig, and it fits the Type 63 20-round magazines perfectly. And I quite like the look of these and knew I wanted one when I first saw one for sale on eBay. 8 pouches in all with the tops and bottoms, this pleather material. It's not actually leather. I have a second one of these that was obviously left out in the sun. This isn't a color variation. It was obviously just bleached a more tan color. And you can see that the pleather has started to flake off in parts on the corners. So it is not that heavy duty sort of protection. It makes me think maybe this is for parade or special dress uniforms or something like that, because I don't think it has the durability, at least on the pleather, for long-term use. The actual pockets seem plenty sturdy. There's lots of, extra stitching to keep the compartments clean and sturdy, but I just don't see long-term usage. Plus, just the nice look. It's different from other rigs. There are, older Chinese SMG rigs that are all legit leather, but not this material. You can see the stars on the buttons, and it's a nice snap, which is also fairly unusual for these Chinese rigs. Here you can see what would look like when worn, thanks to our friendly comrade mannequin here. The straps can be adjusted up and down. These are adjusted up almost all the way, but they still sit fairly low. This is not really a chest height rig. It is definitely more on the lower abdomen. The clasp of the belt buckle is like the other Type 63 rig, where you kind of thread it through and pull it tight. You want to have this pretty taut, because if it's loose and you're kind of moving around, running around, it can kind of get loose or at least jingle. It would be hard to get it all the way unclasped as you move around, but it certainly could happen if you're running or sprinting. Taking a look at the back, there's also more adjustability, so you can tighten it. Of course, it looks like if you get it too tight, you're going to be halfway around your back for the rearmost pouches, but I don't really have it tight at all at the moment, just for demonstration purposes. Let's show how you put it on real quick as well. It's the same as all the other rigs, but it's worth showing. Pretty much, you thread one arm through, then the other, and then you just put the clasp on. Much easier without arms to demonstrate, and that's all there really is to it. When I see these for sale online on eBay or Gunbroker, people are charging over $100 for these, but I found this one in good condition for $40, and this one I got probably $30 at an earlier time because I just hadn't seen one for sale that cheap in person. And obviously this is much better condition. In a previous video I made, I talk about cautioning whether or not the chest rigs you're buying are military issue or not. And one of the reasons I don't know if this is military issue is it lacks the usual stamping on the back. Normally there's a large stamp in Chinese that you can easily decipher. It will say Type 56, Type 63 in Chinese characters and some Arabic numerals. But these just have these number stamps, which I have seen on other rigs, but I don't necessarily know what they mean or stand for. I mean, they are the same. No, these are different numbers, actually. So I'm not sure if this is just a manufacturing code. You can see some more on the front here. So the real usage is kind of a mystery. Even some blogs I found online that are very knowledgeable about Chinese equipment, I saw some pictures of these in personal collections, but they didn't mention them specifically, what they were, what they're called. So there's a lot of unknowns here, which maybe isn't good for a video, but if you see these out there, at least you can kind of judge. It's probably a Type 63. If it's 20 round AK mags, Chinese specifically, and maybe it's military, maybe it was parade. I couldn't find any photos of these in any sort of parade or dress uniforms. That doesn't mean they're not out there and don't exist. I can't even find that many photos in general of other rigs, even though I know they were in use plenty. Let's talk about real world practicality as far as just taking this out to the range with a fun rig that you just like the look of and want to feel kind of cool. Kind of 308 bow rifles, the FAL G3 mags, they're too wide to fit into these pouches. So those will not work. You could maybe try to get a little bit, but it's not worth trying to shove in there. And I mentioned earlier that specifically 20 round Chinese AK magazines fit, because 20 round Hungarian and 20 round modern made Korean magazines do not. The Chinese 20 round magazines, if you're not aware, are actually a little bit shorter than these other 20 round AK mags. So they fit perfectly, and one of these has it. Let me see if I can feel it. So I think it's this one. And we have a winner. 20 round Chinese AK magazine fits perfectly. These are fairly pricey now, so it's unlikely you'll get enough to fill out a whole rig, but there are some other things that do fit as well. Oh, this is just another Chinese. This was an M1 Garand in block clip. Obviously, it's swallowed by the pouch and goes all the way down. You could theoretically stack two in there, but you'd never reach the bottom one wearing the rig. You could fill the bottom with a rag or something else so it is on the top and easy to grab. So there's that as a possible usage. Here's what I meant when I said that the Liberty Tree Collector's SKS pouch seems unrealistic, because they're swallowed up pretty good. It does stick out enough that you can pull it out with it on your person, but it's certainly not easy. Certainly much deeper than a standard SKS pouch would be. Moving on. I put in a 3 round M1 carbine magazine. It fits well, it closes, easy to grab. And finally, I had a 20 round P-mag. It's stuck in there a little bit, not the easiest to get out, but you could make do. Also probably stuff something a little bit in it so this stays above the lip of the pouch and you'd still be able to snap it shut. So, obviously, in reality, limited usage for today. It is fun. It's kind of cool looking. I just think it looks very sharp. These pouches next to each other on the buckle. I think it's just a neat look. I like it. I think it's cool. I'm glad it's in my collection. Not really sure much more than that. Certainly, if you know more about these, please let me know. I would remake this video if I found some better information that really did direct me on what exactly these are for sure. Like I said, obviously it would fit Type 63 time period because of the magazines. The clasps are the same, and even some of these loops for the adjustment, the way they're manufactured, matches the Type 63. And here's a Type 63. There's the buckle, it's the same. And like I said, same sort of retaining loop construction with the double stitch, and the stitching is the same color even if the loop is not. One interesting difference between these, the Type 63 and this pleather rig, is that there's more protecting this from getting completely loose, because you have to get all the way to the end to take this buckle off. But this one is a much more open box, so it is a little easier to come off. It makes me wonder if this actually predates this one, because this seems like an evolution. But I could be completely wrong. It could be seen as extra material that was a waste of money. I don't know. That's pure speculation. Like I said, no date stamps or anything on this one to really let me know. Anyways, that's all I had for today. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if you see these in the wild, what you're seeing them priced as. They were, I think, 30 or 40 when they first came in, but like I said, every listing I see online at this point is over $100. So your best bet may be finding it at a gun show for someone who's just looking to get what they put into it initially and doesn't really realize how rare these things are at this point, or doesn't see utility. And of course, also, if you get kind of a ratty barn find one, you might get it cheaper as well. If you've made it to the end of the video, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I have a whole playlist on Chinese chest rigs. I still have a few more variants to go through before I finish this little journey. And if you can't support me on Patreon, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, as it helps the channel grow and go and motivates me to make more content. Thanks for watching.